happen then. But let's try again. My husband's going to go out and have a look on his computer, and he's going to see if we're working this time. And then he's going to come back and give me the thumbs up if we are, or he's going to give me the thumbs up on the bottom of here. So I'm just wondering, do I presume it's working? And go, hooray, it's Thursday. I've already started, but we're going to have to come. I'll have to swing the camera around and get us started again. So let me see. Yay. Okay, so let's try again. I'll just get my computer all set up. So I did start from before. So what I did, okay, what I did is now I'm with my husband. We're all good?
There's an echo.
Oh, now my husband's having a bit of fun. So what I've already done is I've used my, he's going to turn his phone off. I've used my petal pink, which I hadn't closed, to stamp some very light flowers. I've got a dreadful shadow, honey. Can you turn that off?
What? Turn what off?
All right. Okay, so I've got my ink on my ink block, on my block, just so that I've got a bit of colour on here. Okay, so that I don't have to waste any of my ink. That one's actually almost dry now. I'll just put a bit more water on it. So I'm just going to colour over the top of this one, because I actually want to colour over my petals. Okay, just so I've got some colour on here. And then I'll let that one dry. This one was dry because we were fluffing around. No echo. That's because Tony stopped mucking around. All right, so I can still very slightly see my petals underneath there, but they're really difficult to see. Okay, but I just wanted a little bit of colour there. I can add a little bit to this now. Okay, I'm just putting a bit of colour where the petals are, and it's so that when I go to cut it out with my dies, I've got a bit of colour around the back as well. And then I'm going to set this piece aside to dry. So it's just a bit of colour, a bit of wet, and we'll let that dry. Okay? Clean my brush, my paintbrush off. So I stamped with a little bit of petal pink that I'd stamped off onto here, and then I stamped it. I put a bit of ink onto my block, and then I actually just used the water to spread it around. Now I've got this piece here. What I can do with that is I'm actually going to stamp some of my soft sea foam leaves, because I need that to dry before I do the next thing. Alright, so I want to stamp that with my soft sea foam, just in a few places. Okay. And I don't need much of soft sea foam, but I'm going to get some soft sea foam ink. So I'll put some ink onto my block just so I can use it. Now I do need, should never leave your magnets sitting on the table, but you know, I actually want this flower that's down here. And I to sit up there. Okay, so I'll put some ink on it. It's quite dark, but that's okay for the purposes that I want. Oh, hello, my lovely. How is ya? That's my friend Sharon. She's joining us as well. Right, so I'll just add some water to my ink that I've got on my block. And I'm just going to add a little bit of ink to my leaves and with my water. Doesn't need to be a lot. It's actually quite a subtle card that we're making. And there's no right or wrong. Alright, so there's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of making what you want, and the person that receives it's going to love it. Okay? Alright, now I'm going to need some of that purple back. So I'll put some of that on here. Close up my ink pad because I've got the heater running and the ink pads get dry. So if I don't close them up, right, you can do it this way. You can squeeze the living daylights out of your ink pad and get some on here, or put some re-inker in here. But then this gets exposed to the elements, in this case the heater, because it's freezing, and they dry out. So we don't want that to happen. So this one here, I'm actually going to colour quite specifically, which is why I didn't stamp it off so much. I'm just layering a bit of colour on there at the moment, and as you'll notice, I didn't do all of the same. Alright, now this is my fat one. It's currently dry, so I'll give it a bit of a squeeze so we can get some water on it. And it's just going to play nice and put some water on its brush. Come on, baby. It's getting there. I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I quite frequently, I'm hoping the glue hasn't stuffed it, I quite frequently, oh, no, there it comes, use this one for, it's got yellow in it, when I'm doing my envelopes. This is my envelope wetter, so I don't lick envelopes anymore. I actually just keep, I actually have a bowl of water. I keep dipping this in the bowl and then wet my envelope. So, oh, I didn't bring over my balmy blue. I wonder what I've done with it. Let me just grab balmy blue, because it's another nice subtle colour. Don't know where I put it. It's missing. So I got Pool Party instead. Pool Party's sort of blue. Alright, so squeeze the living daylights out of the middle of it, because I don't want a lot, and it didn't work, see? I don't want a lot of Pool Party. But that one didn't want to play nice. So just try and get quite a bit of water on that, because I just want a soft, subtle bit of colour all over my background. I'm going to guess that you guys can't even see that, but that's okay, because I didn't want lots and lots. I just need to stay away from my Highland Heather on that flower. Probably could have gone a bit heavier handed, but I get it in the right light, you might be able to see it. I can always put more, can't take it off. Oop. Okay, so we're going to go back to our Highland Heather flower here. Put a bit more colour on here. Do this one as well. Okay, and this one up here. Almost looks like a yesterday, today and tomorrow, even though I know it's not. Okay. Now these inks are watercolors, water activated, and the reason why I'm using these is because of that fact. Okay. That needs to dry. These ones here are almost dry. So while we're waiting for those two to dry, I'll just move my blocks with ink on them out of the way. Got my dark blue work pants on, so just wipe the Stampin' Up block down there. We can do something with these backgrounds. I'm going to put some leaves along the back here, just for a little bit of texture. Don't want you to drop. Stamp it in the middle, stamp over there. I just want it light so you can only just see it. Soft sea foam is a really pretty, really light colour. I could get away with doing it a bit darker, but I actually don't want to. Why am I stamping in the middle? Because no one's going to see that bit anyway. And I haven't put my foam mat under here, but that's all right. Okay, so see how you can see there's just a little bit of colour just around the outside edge. All right. If you want to, you can put a little bit on the edges with a sponge or with one of your brushes. Okay. There'll be close-up photos in my blog when I finally load it. Oh, better put some of these on here. Actually, I'll stamp the flowers first because they're in the Stamparatus and I don't want to stuff them. There's this tiny little cute flower in there, and because of the way that I'm going to be putting this on the card, this is out of the Stamparatus, so I'll just bring this in. Again, I can stamp in the middle and just stamp my flowers so they're just really, really faint. If I want them darker, I can stamp them darker. Actually, I think I will have these ones darker. And up there. Because you're not going to get to see them all. Okay, because there's only going to be a little bit of this piece showing. All right. Maybe we could do another one up there. And that one's going to sit on here. I think I need to make those leaves a bit darker. Can you guys even see them? You have to look really close. That's a bit better. And over there. And that one there. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? Now you can actually see them. Okay, let's see how we're going over here with our wet ones. Right, I can't even see that pool party that's on there, so I think it needs another coat. My leaves look pretty good. but my pool party leaves a lot to be desired. So again, I'll put some ink on my block. I'm going to add more water to it because I can. So I'm just giving this a nice big squeeze to get some water out. So I'm just sort of streaking it along. I didn't want to accidentally end up with too much. Okay. Oops. All right. That's a bit better. That one there's got my soft sea foam. So I'll just give these leaves a little bit more colour. About half the leaf I'm giving colour this time, not all of them. And I'm not being neat, I'm just drawing a line, essentially, so that it's just going to give it, and look, it's, the watercolour, any watercolour techniques are fun. You just have a play, have a go and enjoy, essentially. But you really need shimmer paper or the Fluid 100 paper, which is an actual watercolour paper. All right. Okay. Clean that off. All right. So I can still vaguely see my lines, or I think it might be a bit too dark. So let's put a little bit more on here. Just because I can. The aim of the game is not to buckle your paper either. And if you put too much water at once on this paper even, you will buckle it. So I just wanted a little extra bit of colour on there. So again, we'll wait till that dries. If you've got a bit of impatience happening and you've got a heat tool, you can use it. Alright, so I'm just making this flower here. I'll just do this petal again. Do this petal again because it's not touching the other one. Make it a little bit darker on the edges. Same with this one. A bit darker on the edges and underneath there where that petal's sitting on top of it. Petal's sitting on top of it here too. It's just because I want that bit of colour. Now, all right, so we're just going to let those dry, okay? Where is, I put my sentiment strips over here. So I'm going to bring in the Memento. Memento's watercolour, water-based. Or actually, it's subtle. Let's bring in some Early Espresso. Again, another watercolour, another water-based ink. And I'm going to make this one a happy birthday card as well because I think it's a pretty happy birthday. Well, let's put got this one here. Okay, hold my tongue right. It just fits on, I'll tell you, because I measured it. Happy birthday. How good does that look? And then snip it there, and hopefully this one's long enough. It is, look at that. Because of the way I want to do it, I am going straight along here. You can use your trimmer, you can use your whatever sort of chopping tool that you've got. That one's going to stick on with some minis. I don't have my take your pick tool here with me. I've decided this time of night's not the greatest time of night for doing lives, but over the next couple of weeks I'm going to be working a bit, so I will be late, or rescheduling one or the other. But I don't want to cancel that time that I did the other one. That was hilarious. This one's being naughty. When I did the recorded and it was in slow mode, that was horrible. My husband enjoyed it. But here's my take your pick tool. Donna told me you got to twist it a bit, and it works. Right, so we'll just put this. Sorry, I need it closer to me to get it right. There we go. So I've got my sentiment strips ready. Okay. Probably shouldn't have put that down there. I'm going to stick this piece on a funny angle. So I'm going to stick it on now, just because I can. I got a bit carried away there. So I'm actually putting this on an angle so that these two corners actually touch the edge. Okay. Because that one, and then that piece is going to sit on there straight. See how you don't see much underneath? Probably could have chopped that a bit smaller. But that's all right. We just wanted a little bit of a flurry of colour. And that's looking pretty good there. It's still quite wet though. I need it to dry faster. Need my heat tool over here. Okay. So that way. Oh, I need to let it wait. I can't do it wet. It's not going to work. I'm too impatient. All right, so I'm too impatient to wait for it to dry. So what I'm going to do is, just because I've already got this one here on here, and I want a flower on my, this is my inside piece. So I want a flower on here, and I'll do it in the highlight feather. Because then I can add leaves and I can do a bit of colouring while I'm waiting for it. I didn't bring over an envelope, guys. So, oh, actually I might have one here on the chair beside me. I'm going to make this one quite dark. Okay. I do have an envelope, but okay, I'll just pop that there. Normally I would put my flower on the other side, but based on where it was sitting, I didn't have a choice. Okay, I'm going to do some soft sea foam leaves. And then where's my little twidgy ones? They're not going to work, but that's okay. Now, this is basic white, total utter basic white. So if I take off as much water as I can just fluff a little bit from around the edges of that, and it will give me a little bit of colour. It'll just pull it from the ink that I've stamped. But seriously, bare minimum water can go on this stuff. Otherwise it's going to pill and buckle. And it doesn't look good. But it gives you a little bit of colour that you can do. Or you can get friendly with your brush. Okay, which is my great preference. Because then I can put a little bit of colour on my brush. and then I can do a little bit of colour. And it doesn't need to be a lot, and it's just taking that white edge off it, okay? Which is essentially all I really wanted to do, okay? If I wanted to add more colour, I could, but I know that I'm pushing the friendship, so I won't. And that will be my inside piece. Actually, I'll glue that in, because I'm not going to put any words on it. Okay. Ta-da. Put you back to the side. Now, I didn't do them, but I forgot to do some leaves for extra layers of texture, and I do want them. Okay, so I've got some more soft sea foam on this one. And again, I'm going to go outside the lines because I actually want colour on the, I don't want a white rim. I think I've got enough colour on here. I don't think it needs any more colour. All right. And it seems to be dry. Okay, so before I cut anything out out of the other piece, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this one back in, turn my piece around, put my magnet on it because it's all crinkly, so it needs to be held down. I'll put a stamp pad under there just because I can, and I'm going to put, because I didn't want to stamp it in anything dark initially, I'm going to stamp it in this is Early Espresso now. And that's actually just going to give it a line around the outside. It's a little bit off, but that's okay. All right? Because it's watercolour, so it doesn't matter. But it gives us that line, okay? And that needs to dry. Now I'm hoping that I shoved that in the right spot there. I did. I'm going to do the same here. Because I'm going to have some watercolour leaves, some petals. And then when I turn this baby around, by rights, oops, I should get the features of this one stamped in the middle of that. Oh, it's a little bit light on that inside. That's better. All right, and now I'll just let them dry. I will come back because you can see over the top. So I could have just done a big washy bit and because I could see over the top, but I didn't. I can add some little highlights, but I've got to stay away. I have to stay away from that dark edge, okay? Because that dark edge will bleed, and we don't want that. All right. But you do have a little bit of play. The same with this one. If I wanted to push it out here, I can, but I have to be really careful that I don't go anywhere near that edge. That's a bit of a bummer that moved, isn't it? But that's all right. It still looks pretty. Okay. I'm not going to do the leaves, and yeah, I might do these ones though. Okay. And if you wanted to, you could put a little bit of colour extra colour, like some darker colour on the inside. Put a bit of, back in focus. Didn't like me doing that. I could put a little bit of, this one's Gorgeous Grape. We'll put a little bit of Gorgeous Grape in here, just to give it a little bit of a darker colour. Alright, it's looking pretty. Now, where is my leaves? Yeah. Alrighty, bring them closer to me so I can see. And that looks good. Oh, am I done correctly? That one probably is not as crash hot, but that's okay. Now, I didn't bring over the marker. I brought over a black marker. So our Stampin' Right markers, you can buy the black separately. There's a pen end and a brush end. To get some little flecks all over it, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can tap it, or you can actually do this. And all I'm doing is flicking the brush end from here. I'm just flicking it through, and it's just sort of catching a little bit on the edge of my lid, and then yeah, there you go. So you'll see it's given it a fine, like a dot. Is it coming through? Can you see that? See here all these dots? Yeah, okay. Then what I did with the other one is I went along and I just drew some fake stitching. We do have stamps that do this, but just so that we've got a couple of little, and you can do doodles all around, like you can put little swirls and you can put little dots and whatnot. All right, but in the die packet for this set, which I've got hidden away over here, there's this one. There's also that one, it's really cool, but there's this one. So what I'll do is I'll take out the ones I need. Hopefully they're still in here and they're not in the magnet, if they want to come out. The magnet case on the other side of the room. And I use that one. I need that one. I need that one. And I need that one. They're all in here. Okay. Let's put my sentiment up there. Alright, so on here, and I will need a piece of washi tape for this just to hold it, because it's a long skinny one, so it sort of tries to run away a bit. I'll just bring this guy in. He'd have some big muzzle. Alright. Oh, there's one I prepared earlier. Okay, so I'll get it onto the screen in a sec. I want this bit along the outer edge. And you'll notice it's not long enough. So I did one end first, and then I did the other. And it will wobble if you're not careful, which is hence why I have a piece of washi on it. So this one needs to go through twice, so that I can extend the length of that piece. Oops. Okay. And then I only need it to go through a little bit up here. Whoa. It's going to try and run away. And hindsight tells me, I know what I should have done, is I should have done it to where I was doing my ribbon and done two pieces like that, but you know, them's the breaks. And pop you in there. Go again. It goes through so easily. Keep talking about these new plates I need, don't I? And look, you can barely tell that I dodgied it up. You can tell, but you can barely tell. Because this is shimmery and I've had it wet, I just need to watch out for it. And then I just roughed them up a bit. So, but I don't. When you pull them out of the tape, out of the book, they're not perfect, are they? So let's put that one here. And I'm going to take this other one in. How's that? Is that better? And keep turning my flower around until I can tell where I want it to go. And there's a leaf. So dark outside already. And I thought I had another one. You might need to wait for the next one round. Okay. So this one through. Actually, you know what? Doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed for these machines. Both ways work. One flower with no white edge. One leaf that probably has a white edge. Oh no, not too bad. And I need another leaf. Okay, and the little flower die is under here somewhere. I'll pinch that piece of washi tape. Put you on there. And we can go the other way. Sorry about the bumpy tape. Alright. And that's all our die cutting. I'll wait for them to go bang and clean on the ground. Okay, so that one, I'll just put them to the side. Alright, so I've roughed that up a bit. If we get our scissors, open them up, and we can rough up. Oh, I didn't mean to really rough it up like that, but we can rough up our outside edge just to give it a bit more of a rustic lawn look. Because you know we've torn our page out of our notebook and okay, just makes it a little bit more prettier. Alright, so I've got two different bits of fibre here. I've got my soft sea foam piece. I'll put that on a block. Just pop that around there like so. Okay, trim that off. My cheats bow. And you know what, I'm going to add the same. Probably should have stuck that underneath there. Let's see if I can pick it off. Yep, I can. Put you underneath there. Because I want you to come around as well. Didn't really pull it tight enough, but that's all right. So I'll pull this one off here. You watch this one, won't work. Oh yeah. No, it didn't look. Darn. Pull it a bit firmer, that's all. And I'll put you under there as well. And I might stick another piece over the top of that one. What do you reckon? Just to make sure it stays stuck. It's not tight enough. Okay, just dodging it up a bit because it needs to be tighter. That didn't make any difference. Sorry about the shadows. It's got dark now. That's better. Okay. Let's see if I can do what I want to do, which is, let's turn around this way. I want that piece on top. It's not going to work for me, I don't think. And I want to go in under there. Oh yeah. And I'll pull that one. And I'll pull that one. And that one. It really needs a knot in it, I believe. Because it's just starting to, it's just falling apart. Ditch that. Tie a knot. Normally I just do a bow straight up. This time I'm tying a knot. And I'm just going to tie a bow. Then I'll figure out how to add, if I decide I want to add more twine to it. I definitely don't want a bow that is that big though. Tie my knot a little bit smaller. Okay. Neaten off my edges. Now comes the time, the fun bit, we get to put it together. Okay, if you want to force that into submission into a particular spot, shove a glue dot on it. But you know what? That's going to work for me. Okay. This one is going to go on straight. Okay. Take those bits off because they don't want to stay on there anyway. Use some wet glue. Make sure you put some on there so it doesn't slip out. Across my bottom, up my sides, around the top. Stick it on. This one's going on straight, so you get to see just a little bit. Oh, I know what I meant to do. I meant to stick that one on some dimensionals, but that's all right. Curl over my edges a bit. Okay. Then our flowers are going to go on with some dimensionals. So they're the fat ones, I don't want them. They're the skin little ones, I don't want them. Put some dimensionals up there because it's going to sit here. My happy birthday is actually going to sit smack bang in the middle there. Push that up there. Put that one under there. Might stick that leaf up in there. And this leaf is going to come, this leaf that doesn't want to come back to me is going to get stuck down here. So I'll just pop put some glue on the back of that leaf. This flower is going to get blue, which just gives it a little bit of lift, but not a lot. Okay. Let's see how we go. I do like that. Oh, that one didn't come off. That's such a clever trick. I want to make sure my ribbon goes through under here rather than under my dimensionals, because it doesn't, ribbon and dimensionals don't stick that well together. Sorry, excuse me. I might stick this guy on some dimensionals as well. Oh, too big. Use some little ones. Okay, I'm getting close to the end now, guys. It's really dark outside, hence why you're getting such good shadows on the work. So I've just put dimensionals mainly on my leaves, but I didn't use my take a pick tool to take them off though. I'm just going to shove that one in underneath there. Now I do have in my gemmies, I've used all the glue I need. So the gems that go with this, so that's the other one I made. This is the other version, still watercolour. These are the gems that go with this suite. So these are called glossy dots, and I'm thinking that those purple ones are too dark and those blue ones are not right. So I might pull out, these are the elegant faceted gems. I think they work better. Another really good use for our, I want to call them DVD cases, but they're actually stamp cases that you can buy separately in the catalogue. So we've got 3 different sorts. I'm not sure if I do it that way, you can probably see. Okay, I'll just bring them up to the camera. So we've got like a textured white one, a creamy brownie coloured one, and that one's clear. So that'll bring whatever colour we use behind it up. All right. So essentially, I don't think this creamy coloured one here, this brownie colour, goldy coloured one, for a better word, wants it, but either of the other 2 will work. So, take my chunk of those off there. So I'm thinking I might put some of these clearer ones on. So there's 2 different sizes. You can, if you think the big ones are just a bit too big, one of the ways that you can use them is you can actually hide a little bit of it underneath there so it doesn't look as big. And I like to use 3. Well, that one's being stubborn. I'm going to put one down here, because they're just really pretty. Oh, and I haven't stuck my sentiment on. So the other day I flagged it and popped it on, but today I'm actually just going to stick it on. Might stick it further up the top. Okay, what do you think? Looking good? All right, getting some thumbs up there, that's good. Okay, and we'll just stick that there, sort of in the middle. Use your grid, use the lines on your grid paper to be a guide. And there is a pretty happy birthday in soft sea foam and Highland heather for us. Okay, I'll do the envelope after, but thank you for joining me. It's getting a bit dark now, so, but that's 2 cards watercolored, both using our shimmery cardstock, which you can get in our online store. I do have a link above for the bundle or the suite, but I can actually add a link if you need it down underneath. All right. And just a bit of fun. So that's how watercolor painters or water painters add water and off you go. Lots of fun. I store them in my caddy up that way, so that way the brush has the opportunity to dry out and it won't go moldy. Oh, you couldn't see it. So I store them in the caddy that way. Okay. They do have lids, but they're not on my table.